Today is the Monday of the Easter octave. Easter is celebrated altogether 8 days. Every day in the Easter octave is a replica, a commemoration of Easter Sunday. And Easter Monday is traditionally known as the Angels' Monday. You might be wondering why the Angels' Monday. Because, my dear brothers and sisters, this whole octave of Easter, all the gospel texts will be taken from the appearances of our Lord to the disciples. But the appearances of our Lord to the disciples were all preceded by the angel's announcement to the women of Jerusalem. We are told in all the 4 Gospels that the women were running to the tomb. And then when they reached the tomb, the stone was rolled away. Although we have variations in all the narration of the women meeting the angels. In St. Mark's Gospel, it was a young man. St. John's Gospel and Luke, there were 2 men, and all were dazzling bright and white. And then we have, of course, in Matthew's Gospel, we have the story of this angel who appeared to the women. And the message was consistent. Do not be afraid. Go and tell my brothers, I will meet them there in Galilee, in Jerusalem. Announce to them that he is risen. So while the accounts varies, one thing is clear. They are called to announce the message that the Lord is risen. And that is why today, as we celebrate the Monday of Octave Easter, filled with the joy of the risen Christ, then all of us are called to be like the angels. Of course, we cannot be angels in the sense that we share in the nature of the angels. Angels, we know, are pure spirits. They are pure intelligence. But when we speak of angels, angels do not just describe the nature of who they are. Angels primarily describes an office. And so what is the office of angel? To be a messenger of the Lord. And that is what we are all called. We are called to be angels, to be a messenger of the Lord, to go and announce to others that the angels would always do, that the Lord is near, the Lord is present, the Lord is risen. Do not be afraid. And this message is important because at this time of this COVID-19 crisis, many are afraid. Many are afraid because they are afraid to lose their job. They are afraid because their businesses might go bust. Many are afraid of being infected by this virus. Many of us have lost hope and lost courage. That is why it's important, if we are people who are risen with the Lord, we must tell people, give them hope, be not afraid, because the risen Lord will help us to overcome all these trials. But this provided you believe the Lord is risen. This provided you believe that the Lord has overcome death and selfishness. But how do we proclaim this message? You see, many of us, we are unlike St. Peter in today's first reading. He proclaimed the message of the risen Lord forcefully, with conviction. Today, we lack that conviction. Because why? Again, like the women, we were told that initially when they encountered the angels, They ran away. In St. Mark's Gospel, the women ran away with terror and amazement. St. Matthew said, with fear. For the disciples of Jesus, they were too fearful, hiding in the upper room. Why are we afraid to announce to others that Jesus is the risen Lord? Simply because, my dear brothers and sisters, this is such a ridiculous message. Who would believe that the Lord is risen? If you tell the world today, they would think that if you are a respectable person, an intelligent person, you got a PhD even, and you're holding high political, corporate positions, and you believe that the Lord is risen? Oh, that is why we are afraid of being ridiculed. We hide our faith. Not only we don't announce the Lord is risen, we hide our faith. We are ashamed that we could believe in such a story. Isn't this true? That is what today in St. Matthew's Gospel is telling us. Go and tell this story. It is all a fraud. Jesus' body was stolen and then resuscitated. He did not rise. Isn't this the same story we hear today? Oh, the Christian faith is not real. It is not true. It is all fake. You see all the scandals happening. Jesus is not real. My dear brothers and sisters, if the world were to come to believe that Jesus is risen, what would be the consequence? They would all have to bow down in worship, just like the women proclaim him as Lord. And so we find excuses not to believe, to deny this fact, to deny this truth. The world is trying to cover up the resurrection of Jesus, because otherwise people will believe the gospel message, and their lifestyles contradict the gospel message. So that is why you notice many people are very critical of the Christian faith, hostile, because we are small spot for the amoral lives that they are living. They want to have things their way. My dear brothers and sisters, today, if you want to announce that the Lord is risen, you first must encounter the risen Lord. So I can understand there are many Catholics, all kinds of Catholics we have. Retired Catholic, outstanding Catholics, those stand outside the church. Used to be those days when there was no aircon, yeah. If there are different degrees of Catholics, it's precisely some Catholics have encountered the Lord radically and their lives changed. Those who have not, for those whose faith in the risen Lord is just a cerebral faith, an intellectual faith, oh, their lives will not be changed. You must first encounter the risen Lord. In order for you to proclaim with conviction and faith, like St. Peter or like St. Paul, have you encountered the risen Lord? That's an important question you should ask yourself. Otherwise, what we are saying is just a doctrine. And even an empty doctrine. It is not real. Have you encountered the risen Lord yesterday? Where do we encounter the risen Lord today? In prayer, in worship. I'm sure those of you who have participated in Easter Vigil, you would have encountered the risen Lord. And then on Easter Sunday, you have encountered the risen Lord in your loved ones, in your family lunch. The risen Lord comes to us through so many angels who comes to comfort you, come to console you. Have you opened your eyes? Have you been attentive? Or do you have taken all this for granted? There are so many angels of the resurrection around you. So, my dear brothers and sisters, open your eyes. They are trying to reach out to us, trying to give us hope, give us encouragement, give us inspiration. Do not be afraid. And all you need to do is to be like St. Peter. We need to listen. Listen to the gospel. St. Peter explained to them why Jesus is the risen Lord. Systematic explanation, citing from the Psalms, Psalm 15 and other scriptures, to show that Jesus is really the Lord, the risen Lord, within the plan of God. My dear brothers and sisters, I ask that you open your heart to the Lord. Spend some time in prayer, contemplating on the risen Lord, reading the scriptures. You will encounter him. And I can tell you honestly, if you encounter the risen, your lives will never be the same again. You will always have hope. You will always be strong in times of challenges because you know the Lord is with you. When the Lord is with you, Jesus said, do not be afraid. I have overcome the world.